What is going on, YouTube? I got another review for you. This is a beer review and a little something different. I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but I've got my record player going, and the album we're listening to for this beer review is Deftones' Koi no Yokan. It's a metal album, but we're going to talk about beer, going to talk about vinyl, talk about a bunch of hipster kind of crap. If that doesn't sound appealing to you, just go ahead and click on to the next video. But I hope you watch it, and I hope that my passion for this stuff kind of comes through the video, and you can understand kind of why vinyl's still relevant, why craft beer's still a booming industry, even though market's getting taken away little by little from the big spirits, so, out like the higher proof liquors and things like that. But we're going to go into it, but the primary focus of this is the beer review. Now, we had some technical difficulties, so I had to redo the intro here, but the beer's already in the glass. Today I'll be reviewing the Cut in Half from Electric Brewing. This is the Cut in Half from Electric. So this is a hazy IPA. Actually, excuse me. They call it a double IPA. It's definitely a hazy. It's brewed with oats, mosaic, hop, and lupulin powder, Michigan-grown Chinook, and dextrose. These are the local boys. They're out of Murrieta. This clocks in at 8.2%. It's a 16-ounce can. I believe it came in a 4-pack, if I'm not mistaken, but I've had it. It's very good. Very enjoyable beer. All right, so as you notice in the background, you can probably hear it very low. We're listening to music. Recently, I've got into records and collecting records and listening to them. It's a hobby, but the sound quality is, in my opinion, in spades above and beyond CD. It's right up there with lossless, but I've noticed that with records, there's definitely more channel separation and more nuance. It's hard to explain. When you hear it in person on a good sound system, you definitely notice a difference. So the reason I chose this album, this is a great album, by the way, from the Deftones, but the song that we're going into after this one is perfect for this beer, in my opinion. The song's called Entombed. It's just a really kind of spacey song, so the song's coming on now. Go ahead and kick it up just one little bit on the percentage. Now the turntable for this is a Pioneer PL250. It's older, but it's great. It's direct drive. I'm running a Shure M97 cartridge with the, what do they call it, Vivid Line stylus from LP Gear, all running through a DJ Art 2 phono stage into my Logitech TH6 certified 4.1 surround sound. So sounds pretty damn good. But let's get into the beer. Enough about that. Ooh, the nose is killer. The nose is on point with what you'd expect from Mosaic. It's real juicy. It's got a fair amount of citrus rind from the Chinook. Really kind of a balance between like the juicy Mosaic and kind of the more earthy Chinook. A really nice balance, though. I mean, to be honest, it's the aroma's great. The color's great too. Look at this thing. Looks like freaking almost like juice in the hand. I mean, it's the real deal here. Like I said, this beer's a big beer, so always drink responsibly. Don't take my word for it. Just don't be an idiot. Cheers. Very good, very good. So the thing I noticed about this beer upon the first tasting when I got the 4-pack was it's a little bit on the sweeter side. From the alcohol content, 8.2 is pretty high, especially with the stripped down grain bill like what they're using. I mean, we read it off. It's not a complex grain bill. And without having that malt backbone, the hoppiness is going to be perceived as higher and the alcohol sweetness is going to be more predominant. So that is something that's kind of a bummer. It's not a super big detriment to the beer, but it is something that I think with a little bit more malt in there, a little bit more grain backbone, not just sweetness from the dextrose. So I'm talking like actual grain bitterness, just a little bit from like 2 Row or Golden Promise, something like that, really open this beer up. Other than that, man, killer. I mean, I still can't get over the aroma, man. It's like just burying your face in like a fresh, like one of those freshly made edible bouquets of fruits. It's kind of like that, but with like, your mango, your tangerine, your lemon, your, what else? I'm trying to think of what else this thing smells like. Oh, it's so good. So good. Passion fruit too. A little bit of passion fruit in there, maybe a little bit of peach. Really nice, really nice. On the flavor, The hops come through in a low IBU way. They don't kick you in the teeth like Hopocalypse, because this isn't that kind of beer. It's meant to be, drinkable, enjoyable, but if you're not a hophead, I don't think this is going to be for you. But we're going to kind of give it another taste, let the palate kind of rest between sips, and maybe we can pick out some more nuance. So here we go. So, second sip, super creamy. The oats are going to do that in your beer. They're going to make the beer have a stronger body, a little bit heavier body beer. It's not going to be a light body. It's going to be like a mid to medium heavy body beer. And that's fine for me. I mean, a lot of people, there's the debate. A lot of people hate hazy IPA, low IBU IPA, New England IPA, Vermont IPA, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty much all the same thing. I don't have a problem with it. I think that it's a great way to showcase what hops can do other than just bitterness. For a long time, you have to remember, hops traditionally weren't used for bittering. Hops in your Belgian beers and things like that, they were more geared towards, adding flavors other than just sweet grain, and, they added more complex character to what was going on in the beer, as well as, giving it some chemical compounds that aided in different properties of the beer, things you definitely want in there. So, I mean, that's what makes a beer: water, barley, hops, and yeast. And, we could get into the whole Gruit thing. We're not going to go there right now, but yeah, I mean, this is exceptional. Most people, when they think of IPAs, they think of, I don't want to touch that, it's too bitter. And I think that hazy IPAs, Vermont IPAs, whatever you want to call them, we're just going to call them hazy from here on out just to keep the nomenclature consistent. Hazy IPAs are a good introduction to people, or they're a good introduction for people who don't know much about craft beer per se, or anything other than IPAs are bitter and they taste like pine trees. It's a common thing people say, it tastes like pine trees. Well, a lot of the New World hops that people are using, such as Mosaic, and Motueka, and Azaka, Eldorado, things like that, a lot of those hops are different than what you would expect. They're not piney, they're not brutal. They're really not humongous, kick your teeth in high IBU beers. They do have a high alpha acid content, but most people don't spend the money on these hops and use them early in the boil, because you're kind of throwing money away if you're just trying to achieve bitterness. Go for Tomahawk, something like that, something that's a little bit cheaper. You really want to get the aromas and the oils out of these hops, and that's what I think that Electric's done very well with every release of their IPAs that they've done. They're all exceptional, and this is no exception to that rule. Oh, man, it's very good. So everything I talked about with this beer, if I had to give it a score on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being, best in class, world class, 1 being one for the sink to drink, I would give this beer, hand over heart, like 7.8, a little bit above 7.75, not quite an 8. Like I said, it's a little too sweet from the alcohol for my palate. It could be covered up a little bit more, with some more grain, but that's just a personal opinion. It's not a bad beer by any stretch. No diacetyl, no acetaldehyde, no chemical compounds you don't want present in here. This beer is very well done. Yeah, but it's great. So, on other news, I'm not going to go into the outro yet. Gotcha. Other news are the brewery that we're opening. My family, myself, we got the conditional use permit to the next step in the process. So that's a big round of applause for us. I do think so. I think we're deserving of that. It goes to public hearing right now. If no one has any complaints, then we should have our CUP letter drafted, and we can submit forms for build-out, plans for build-out and everything, and get the building open and ready to go. So now that's a ways down the line, so don't think I'm saying, it's going to be open right away. It's a process. So, there's red tape, bureaucracy, government bodies involved. So it's a whole thing, but, we are striving for that every single day. So there'll be videos on the whole process of build-out and all the brew day stuff. So, that's kind of cool. Now on to records, kind of lumping a bunch of stuff into one video here. I do apologize if this gets long-winded, but records, what's the point, right? We live in a digital age. Your phone can hold tons and tons of music. You can stream music. Why records? It's a question I've been asked quite a bit recently, to be honest. My simple answer is it's a tangible product. The audio quality on the right system surpasses any streaming source. I don't care, other than maybe Tidal, because Tidal does lossless, but I'm not a huge fan of a bunch of modern hip-hop, so Tidal's kind of a wash for me. There's no point. Records, it's a tangible product that interacts with the needle, since it's an analog medium, in my opinion, and to my ears, through my AKG 702s or the THX certified speakers like I mentioned, there's a lot more nuance and detail to a record, to a song playing on an album than there is on a CD version. The CD version, part of it's the loudness wars. If you don't know anything about that, we're not going to get into that, but do some research on the loudness wars. Most companies, when they press a brand new album, even if it's all recorded digitally, when they press it to vinyl, what they end up doing is they end up mastering it a little bit differently. They don't just slap an RIA curve on and go, yeah, here you go, it's brick walled and it's super loud. You can't do that, it'll damage the cutting head on the stylus when the first blank is produced. So you do get a lot more dynamic range, there's a lot more micro detail. It's a ritual too. I mean, you're engaging with the music. I could sit here and listen to, you know, the world's music library every single day, and I couldn't tell you what I listened to be honest. Unless something struck me as, wow, that's really good. Yeah, I don't think I would remember much. But you know, having an album, spending the money, putting the album on, making sure it's clean, setting the needle, getting everything perfect, it's something to behold. So that's my take on it. I hope you guys found this video useful. Hope you guys liked it. Hopefully the audio is not all messed up and I'm kicking myself in the teeth for having the music playing. We'll see. But yeah, that's going to do it. If you guys have any questions, you know, feel free to ask them down in the comments. If you guys liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. As always, I appreciate your feedback and support. If you guys want to follow the progress on the brewery, you can follow us on Facebook, Mars Brewing Company, or you can follow us at Twitter. This is my personal page, but I'm just kind of, you know, letting you guys know what I'm up to. So if you guys want to check that out, as always, I appreciate it. Or if you just want to follow me on Instagram, HomeBrewedHero, same thing as my channel. As always, guys, I appreciate it. Have yourselves a great day. Stay safe, and I'll see you around. Cheers.